guys are going to make a motion that you're out of executive session.
Motion to adjourn executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Sanders?
Yes.
Mr. Sedeby?
Yes.
Mrs. Zock? Yes. Mrs. Matthews? Yes.
Okay, I'm going to ask the question, I know the answer, but were any decisions made in the executive session?
No.
Thank you. Okay, moving forward, I'm going to ask everybody to mute their cell phone. We have a policy here at the trustees meetings that if your phone rings, it costs you $1,000. We haven't been able to collect it from Mr. Trump or myself at this point, but it's, in theory, it's supposed to. So I think the purpose of our side of this meeting tonight was just to get together with the school board. There are two bodies that appoint members to the Recreation Board. So I need to ask first, Marty, you're an existing member of the Rec Board?
Retired.
Retired, okay.
But
Recently. Okay, can anybody tell me how many Rec Board members are there right now that have been appointed by?
Part of what we discussed was the status of the people who are currently serving on rec board. Right now we have, is it 5 de facto members?
5 what? They
De
don't know
facto.
what, they
Oh,
haven't been defined.
so out of you girls that have taken the reign, how many of you are there?
There's 4,
And then Ashley's.
and Ashley's 5.
So there's 5, what's
Okay,
considered de facto
And
members.
has anybody in that group been appointed by the trustees and or by?
Not yet, they're de
Okay,
facto
all right,
members.
thank you. All right, so there is a need to fill some empty seats. So with that said, it's been the position of the Board of Trustees that we always advertise. We put an ad in the paper, you know, and we spell out to some degree what it is that we're looking for. And I was hoping that as a joint group tonight, we could agree to some language for that. And I took the liberty of just a starting point for that. This is not cast in stone, this is just a place to start. Feel free to edit it, change it, which is the same thing as editing it. Delete it, tear it up, start all over again, I don't care. But I think the appropriate position for at least the Board of Trustees, and I hope your board as well, is that we want to begin a process to formalize and make some appointments to the Board of the Recreation Board. Are we in agreement with that concept anyway?
Here's my question. We're gonna have, in a year, the school's gonna go away.
Okay,
If that happens, where does that put the joint rec board?
okay, I don't know the answer to that. You know, right now, the school is not going away, you know, it's slated to go away. You know,
We have about a year left.
We have a year to
there's a
discuss
year
it.
left, and we
Absolutely.
still have a joint recreation board to run.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think we have an obligation to the residents and to the people that want to participate in these programs to formalize it and to answer the questions of the public that the public has said. We would like to see a process, you know, that is based upon the Constitution and the bylaws of the rec board itself. So I think I think it's incumbent upon us to do that.
Agreed.
You know, so, Marty,
I
I don't know
guess
if that answers your question, but.
No, but I guess what I'm saying is down the road, when, you know, because a year,
Right.
instead of.
What do we do next?
But wait, instead of setting them up for failure, set them up for success, where if we start a new entity, which is one of the ways we could do that, where it doesn't have to be a joint, because there's a lot, and start
Okay.
that, even if we start off with a joint per se, but with this coming down the road, set it up that, knowing that we have to move from a joint to a separate,
But I
within
think,
like 6 months, within a year.
Understood, so we could make a suggestion to the board that we appoint, that they change their bylaws, or, you know, we come up with the language for them, that they adopt their bylaws to change the length of term from 3 years to a 1-year term based upon the moving target of what is gonna happen with the school and the rec program. So we would be asking people to volunteer, give up their time to the community and to the project for, you know, whatever time remains while the school is functional here in town. And during that point of time, there can be some conversation, you know, between the three entities, the trustees, the school board, and the rec board about how to transition beyond that point. Would
Yeah,
that
the
be,
first-
would that be?
The first steps are to reconstitute it,
The way it
appoint
Exactly.
sponsorship.
We have to start
Absolutely.
where we have something in place,
Absolutely.
and I think,
The only thing I think this is written very well, the only thing on this I would change is that, I don't think it has to just be for youth, I think rec board, and I think, and if I'm
Yes,
speaking out of
you know,
turn,
I did not
adult,
include adult,
yeah,
yes,
I
and we
think it's
can-
just community
like I
programming.
said, this is a starting point, folks, and, you know, I'll share this with you in a couple of moments. But all this is, I'll read it. Newbury Township and the Newbury Board of Education are looking for individuals to serve, Diane, I'll give you a copy of this. Are looking for individuals to serve on the Newbury Joint Recreation Board. The organization consists of no more than 13 voting members. The Newbury Board of Education will sponsor 6 members. And the Newbury Township trustees will sponsor 6 members. The Newbury Board of Education and Newbury Township trustees will jointly sponsor a single member. That's right from the bylaws, right. All positions are volunteer and are for a term of 3 years. We can change that. We can change the wording to that to, you know, to suit whatever, you know, whatever we wanna do here. Successful applicants will serve as unpaid volunteers and will be subject to background checks. All recreation board members, all recreation board meetings are open public meetings, which are governed by the Ohio Open Meetings Act. Successful candidates will be motivated self-starters, able to organize, teach, and implement youth and adult programs
Community programs.
and adult community recreation programs.
Yeah.
Okay, we can,
Just take out youth and adult, but community,
Yeah.
okay,
that covers it. the
there
whole
you go,
gamut, right?
okay. Less words are better. Well, there is, and I'm not good at that. Well, there are no particular sports skills required. Knowledge of rules and regulations pertaining to individual sports is a plus but not a requirement. Appointed members will work as a team, providing all children with an equal opportunity to learn and participate. All children and adults, we can change it to that. To learn and participate in an organized sport activity. Please send your resume to both Newbury Township address and this Board of Education address. It's a starting point.
Yep, no, I think
We've
it's
already
very
made a
good.
couple changes, you know, so now we can talk about just the term of, change, somehow fix that term language, so it's not 3 years. Are you guys okay with what's going, you're good with this?
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
you good? Bill?
Except I would like, you know, on that last paragraph, please send your resume to both Newbury Township and Newbury Board of Education. Wouldn't it be maybe or take the word and out, and, I
Well,
hate
it's
to be, I hate
because
to
Bill-
nitpick,
yeah.
but who, you know, what if, you get 14 people that get a resume, send a resume to the Board of Election, or the
Yeah.
Board of School Board, and then 2 send them to the township, then we don't have enough to appoint, or do we just put them in a pile, shake them up, and split them up?
Well, that's why I would prefer to have it read and.
Yeah, so that-
So we're getting
So
all.
that way, you know, we both are drawing from the same pool. You know,
Well,
that way,
that's what I'm trying to
Yeah,
get
okay,
to, is
yes.
that we have a pool,
yes,
and not specific to
Exactly.
either board.
yes, good point,
So we have a group of candidates that we can appoint.
yes,
All right, we can go through, and maybe this candidate looks good to us, and maybe not to them, or
right,
vice versa.
exactly,
You
yep,
know, that way we're not, you know, we're not so
Right.
pointing fingers at any individual that way.
yep,
Sure.
Does that
Good
make
point.
sense?
yeah, I
Yeah.
like it, we can do that.
So you wanna do, what were we changing that to?
Well, we'll give you an edited,
Right.
when we're done here.
Yeah, we'll get the time.
Is there an extra copy of this?
Mhm, sure.
Would you give one to Diane, please, I know
I
she's,
got it.
and if you want, Sue, you can make copies for the public if you want to pass them out. Sorry, I didn't make enough copies, I was saving trees today, so.
How long
You have
do
the
you wanna,
the
you
current.
wanna run this in the local papers and then how long?
We wanna run it in the local paper of record for the township is the Maple Leaf. Is that your paper of record as well?
Yes, I think we have two, Chagrin and Maple Leaf.
Okay, well then you should run it where you need to. You folks pay for it, your own publication, I take it?
We have on Nightlines now.
Okay, and well.
Well, the latest one just came out, it'll be a month
It'll
until the
be
next
too
one,
late.
it'll be.
Okay, well, let's get this, the reason for the meeting tonight was to expedite this so we can get this program started, so we can continue the youth programs and adult programs that are already in place. So-
I'd like to read, going off of what continuing the work, I'd like to read our legal opinion, if you wouldn't mind. That will help maybe answer some
Of course,
questions
please do.
regarding the work
Yep,
that needs to be done while we're waiting for the sponsorship to come through. So recently, there's been questions regarding the Newbury Joint Recreation Board and its Board of Trustees. As you may be aware, the Newbury Local School District Board of Education and the Newbury Township Trustees jointly created the Recreation District and its Recreation Board pursuant to Ohio law. The Recreation Board's stated purpose is to create, offer, support, and maintain both athletic and continuing education programs and activities for persons residing in the Township of Newbury, Ohio. Under the Recreation Board's constitution, the Board of Education and the Township Trustees each appoint members to the Recreation Board. It is the Board of Education's understanding that although appointments have not been made for some time, members have continued to serve on the Recreation Board. The Board of Education has reviewed the matter with its legal counsel. It understands that even if Recreation Board members' continued service has been inconsistent with the Recreation Board's constitution, this does not necessarily invalidate the Recreation Board's actions. This is because long-standing Ohio law has established contingencies that allow such members to continue to serve either pursuant to RC 3.01 or as de facto members. A de facto member is a member who exercises the duties of an office under color of an appointment, but who has not qualified for an office. To ensure the Recreation Board members are appointed consistent with its constitution, the Board of Education is in the process of appointing members to the Recreation Board. So in summary, those members that haven't been appointed are considered de facto members and can continue to operate until the appointments and sponsorships are made. That allows you all to continue to
Pay bills.
run your programming, to give us time to do this the right way and the legal way, to advertise, let the community know that we're looking and seeking for those vacancies, interview, and read those letter of intents, and we don't interrupt programming. So that's the major finding that we received today.
I have no trouble with that. You know, I think it goes without say that, you know, there was no action taken to change anything by either board. And under the cover of, I like the word, under the cover of, you know, then it should continue as it is. You know, but from, you know, once the appointments are made, then all that changes obviously.
Right.
So, okay, thank you
Now,
for
with
that.
at that point though, the de facto members, I'm assuming are required to present a resume to,
Sure.
If
as
they're
well,
interested, they're
right?
welcome to
Right.
apply, yes.
Yes, they would stop when those appointments and sponsorships are
Right,
made.
right.
Yeah.
So you would need to send your,
So
Are
your resume's
are there
in.
currently any members on the board? No, it doesn't make any difference, okay. Doesn't make any difference, never mind. Okay.
Yeah, the quorum.
Asked and answered by myself, that's pretty good.
That was the last one.
Okay,
2010 was the last sponsored member, and I don't know if you were headed there, but considering a quorum based on majority of members and deciding, making decisions, a majority of the board is not required to make those decisions.
a
If there's
quorum is
only
a majority, a quorum is a majority of those present.
and if you,
voting
Yes.
members.
right,
Yes.
right.
Right.
So if
if
there's
you-
only
and
4
that's in the
members, you guys are
Yeah.
still
So
able
they're
to
able
make
to make
those.
decisions
Yes.
and move forward with
Right,
programming.
right.
Can I
Well-
ask a question, or do I have to wait?
We're going
We
to-
may not be able to answer all
Yeah,
questions right
if
now,
you
but
would-
if it's something we
If you would
can't
wait for a couple
answer,
minutes,
okay,
folks,
okay.
if you'd save your questions, you know, we'll actually go ahead, you know, what the heck. You know, because it may help us formulate what we're doing.
Yeah, I'm Lauren Loma, I've been the acting president for the last
Okay.
few months, and, I just quickly, we have, it was just your ad, we kind of already put out there instead of a resume, cause it's kind of a little like, I need a resume for a rec board, we used the word letter of intent, which we have 11 already from
Then you can send,
advertising.
I would appreciate if you send those back,
Okay,
and people submit a resume. A resume is not a hard thing to do. You know, we're looking for, I'm looking for a little more detail about the people,
which Bill also sent, so
which Bill
it's,
has also
they're
said.
quite long, it's not, it's like qualifications and letter.
You know, look,
They can send them as a cover letter, maybe
if
with
they
their
wanna,
resume.
if they wanna use that and submit it as their resume or whatever, that's all right.
Okay.
You know, I mean, I would suggest looking at the format for a resume. If somebody's asking you for a resume and you submit a cover letter,
And I don't think we did, I think when I was at the rec board meetings, we said just a detailed letter, would be, just something a
Well,
little
we
bit more.
talked about a letter of intent, and the more I thought about this, I would like a
feel
little
more-
more, I would like a little more detail than a letter of intent. That's my opinion.
we are all under scrutiny by, 6,000 plus people in this community.
Yes,
And that carries a burden and a responsibility. And, since we are dealing with children, all of us combined, and the decisions that we make and the appointments that we make, when the wheels come off the wagon, the headhunters will come after the people that made the appointments. I want as much information as possible about the person before I go and move on anything. So it's not unreasonable for us to request that. Look, people have nothing to hide, there's no mystery here. Give us your background, that's all. Are we in agreement with that, so we can move forward?
Absolutely.
Okay, all right, well, does that answer your question?
Sure.
Thank you. Okay. And thank you for those that are picked up the pieces and moving on. It's important that this program continues. It's vital to the community. It's a well-received program within the community. And over the years, thousands of kids have taken advantage of it and moved forward. So, okay, with all that said, let's talk about the mechanics of this for a moment. Since you use 2 papers of record, you can do whatever you want. You can place the ads in. I think it would be helpful to everybody agree on an ad, so we're all asking the same thing. And we're gonna talk about that in a moment, but, you will place your ads at your expense, as the township will. We have,
Do we need to both do a maple leaf
Yes.
separately?
Yes, we
is that gonna be
we need to have that.
confusing?
I think-
when-
Yeah, I think it would, it seems to make sense if we did Chicken Valley Times and you guys did Maple Leaf to me, but.
okay, well, I don't know what your
We
attorney's
have to
gonna.
look,
What do you-
we would have to
I have
look.
no
Maybe
idea
the
what your
legal
attorney's
advice,
gonna
do we do
recommend.
it that way?
I don't.
One run in one paper,
Yeah,
we pay for it, and
Doesn't matter.
and the
That's
school board
perfectly
does the other one, that way we're splitting the expense.
that
I mean,
would be
it's
fine.
gonna have the same verbiage, the same
Okay,
the
This
same
ad,
Bill,
ad.
this
then-
ad is also running in this paper, this ad is also running in the other paper, that way people
Right.
see it and go,
Right.
what's going on?
Right, instead of
Okay,
having
so-
2 ads,
Right. No,
side by
one
side,
ad.
that has the same
Right.
thing in there, then it makes the publisher look bad.
Right.
All right, so we're gonna agree that, we're gonna run it in 2 different papers, under the banner of both of our organizations. And that, since we're doing that, and this is, this benefits everybody, so let's take whatever those totals are and split the bill in half.
Do we need to vote on that?
Yeah, if you guys need to vote on it, go ahead, but, Bill and I will vote on it tomorrow night at our regular trustees meeting. It's not gonna be a major expense.
I don't think we need.
Depends on how wordy we get though, but that's okay. We wanna make sure that we get this right.
And then we have to figure out how long we're gonna run this ad and when.
Let's talk about that right now.
Okay, so that's next on your,
Let's, the Maple Leaf publication comes out weekly, and we've already missed the first publication for the month of May. If we act within, well, by the time, if we have this done by Monday, I'd like to have it done tonight.
Yeah, I don't see why
Then we
can't.
could submit this for publication and have it run 2 times, I think is appropriate, in the Maple Leaf, as well as the strip-in paper. Is that suitable?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, so we're gonna have it run 2 times. 2 times, 2 papers.
Are we in agreement with those changes that were made?
Yeah, we'll go back to that in a moment, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
2 papers, 2 times. And we will mention, I like the idea about mentioning it, that, you know, the ad is in the other paper as well, so we'll add that to this text. And then somebody had their hand up.
I
Yes.
just wonder, will it also be on websites, or is it just
Yes.
gonna be a publication in paper?
Yeah, we will put it on the website, you know, the township will put it on Sue, do you,
There's Facebook pages.
yeah, we don't have a Facebook page, it will be on our website. You know, you guys do with it as you choose to do. But, alls we can do is fulfill the requirements. You know, we can publish the ads where they're supposed to be and for as often as they're supposed to be. We will post it also here at the town hall doors, but it's the responsibility of the public to participate in the process. So, let's take a look at this, let's go line by line here, or you know, feel free, I mean, the top portion of it is just a joint statement. The next couple sentences are right from the bylaws or constitution of the rec board. And then, all positions are volunteer, you know, that's, goes without say as far as, and for a term, now, we need to fix the term.
I don't, do you think that that is necessary, or do you think that if we make that decision after they're in?
Well, I think, you know, maybe we should tell people that, you know, maybe somebody would like, well, I have a year or 2 that I can donate to this. You know, in 3 years, I don't wanna sign up 3 years, but I have a year, I have 12 months, 14 months, or whatever.
The only reason is, I know that the current rec board wants to continue on. The people that are in place wanna continue on. And the only reason before we got into the long discussion of the joint rec board, what I was saying is, if we set up the foundation now where there could be a separate, cause it was one of the things our legal talked about, is possibly just starting it over as a separate entity. That way, if the school does go away, it's already set, it's already in place.
I
And
think
that
there's
was,
so many options to do that, we need to take the year that we have left to figure that out together, so we know that we're making the right steps to set them up for success.
Well, and if it's a joint rec board and it dissolves, and because one of the entities goes away, then I wanna say that it may be that those terms are, if they have to become a new entity at the end of that, relationship, then maybe those terms would
Okay.
expire, and then they would have to be assigned new
Alright,
ones.
so, you know, this would be a lot easier if, doing what you just said, and adopting the Constitution and the existing bylaws without rewriting and reinventing the wheel. You know, that way we have something in place. We would be, you know, taking care of the requirement about advertising and then appointing, you know, based upon
Then work.
this.
Yeah, but yeah,
And then let the board figure out, you know, what their own future is based upon
Right, right.
the
Right.
direction
So
of the
just leave
school.
it, I would leave it the
I
way
would
you
leave
have
it the
it.
way it is.
Okay.
Just leave it the way it is.
then we
Then
don't
we-
have to change the constitution
Yeah.
bylaw.
Because it's not up to us to do
Let
that,
the board
change
members
that
that are coming in
constitution.
decide how they want that.
And
So
besides
we
that,
will work with
everybody,
them.
pretty much everybody in this community, unless you're living under a rock, knows what's going on with the school and being associated with the rec board.
Okay,
So they can
Alright,
write
well,
their own bylaws.
you know, I
I
don't
mean, but if
think,
anybody that's interested in applying for the position
Okay.
would do that, because they have a vested interest in with their children in the community.
it seems
in order
that,
to-
you know, I don't know if we need a voice vote to approve that, but it seems the majority is, you know, is there anybody that would like to speak against that idea?
I'm just trying to look
Understood,
at the future.
yeah, exactly,
I'm fine with whatever,
okay.
you know, if you guys say, I'm fine with it.
All right, good, good. You know, this is a lot easier if everybody's on the same page. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna let that language stay in place. You know, and this will be their structure. So now let's look at all positions of volunteer, and for a period of 3 years, or net successful applicants will serve as unpaid volunteers. Did I say that twice in here?
Positions are volunteer.
Yeah, positions are volunteer.
You just wanted to make sure they knew they weren't getting
I
paid.
just wanna tell them twice, you know, it's like, you really wanna do this? Okay, we can, we can, we can
So
eliminate
that
one.
first sentence would probably make the most sense, just take that out.
Successful, all positions are volunteer and for a period, for a term of 3 years.
Oh, well, you wanna keep it.
So let's leave that one.
And then just
Well,
add-
let's
well,
just say it, successful applicants will serve as unpaid volunteers, let's, spell it out.
There's nothing wrong with the way you
There's
have it.
nothing nothing wrong with that. And will be subject to a background check, we all agree on that, and all recreation board meetings are open public meetings, which ORC says they have to be. And so that paragraph stays as it is, are we good with that?
Mhm.
Okay, successful candidates will be motivated self-starters, able to organize, teach, and implement youth and adult community recreation programs.
Right, teach and implement community recreational programs.
Teach and implement community,
Take youth and.
take youth out,
and
okay,
adult out.
community,
Recreational program.
okay, good. While there are no particular sports skills required, knowledge of rules and regulations pertaining to individual sports is a plus, but not a requirement. Are we okay with that? Okay, appointed members will work as a team, providing all children
And adults.
and adults, thank you. How about all participants?
All part, there you go.
There you go.
All
Yeah.
That's
participants.
better.
There.
With an equal opportunity to learn and participate in an organized sport activity. I think that's kind of like the gist of what it says on their website as far as their mission statement goes, that's right. Thank you. Please send your resume to both the Newbury Township, I'm gonna put Board of Trustees, P.O. Box 257, Newbury, blah, 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 and, the Board of Education, 14775 Newbury. Is there a general email address that goes to all the board members and not individuals?
No, it would probably have to go to Sarah, I would think, and then she would send
Okay,
it out.
who would then be your designee for receiving general email inquiries, or
Sarah, I can send you her email.
if you would send that to me, then we can include it in here, is that okay with you guys?
Yep.
This way, it's not individuals that are asking, and the stuff is not going to an individual, it's going to the entire boards. Or email to, or simply drop it off at the town hall. We're gonna get rid of that. If you can't figure out a way to email it or send it, then, we're not worried about dropping it off at the school or at the town hall between the hours of blah, 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 blah. Let's make it,
So you have our admin email address and then, or the email address for the, that you're gonna supply.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll give it to you.
Okay.
And then just a final note would be, this ad will be appearing in both the papers of record for the Board of Education, Newbury Township. And do we even wanna say anything about how it's being paid for, so there's no question about this? No one has asked the question, we answer it before it's even asked.
I think as separate boards here, that I need to make a motion for us, that we're going to do it that way. And then your board, the board of, for your school board,
Okay.
can make, a motion and accept it as the way it's gonna be paid and how long it's gonna be run, so they mirror each other. So
Right,
that we're
that's
not
fine.
doing- Cause we can't do it as a joint
Yes,
board, we have to do it as a separate entity.
Yeah, I don't think the cost
And
is
that's-
something we would need to vote on.
okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
And that's appropriate to do because the way this meeting was advertised was to talk about this process and other township business,
Mm.
and the township business that we're talking about is related to the process. So, Bill?
I would like to make a motion that we run
Okay,
the
Sue, do we have
ad,
that written down, please?
okay, that we run,
Okay,
Newbury Board of Township Trustees will run one ad in, I'm gonna pick the Maple Leaf just because, so we have it on record.
let's say the paper of record.
Paper of record, to be paid for by the Newbury Township.
Okay,
And then to run for 2 consecutive publishings.
right. I can
And then
look
at
the
what
dates, we
point,
can
at
specify
what
the
point
date.
are we going to stop accepting resumes. Do we need to put that in there as well?
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. Resumes will be accepted up until
Till,
close of business Friday, whatever.
you wanna, well, it'll run, in theory, it'll run the 9th and the 16th.
So let's make it the 25th then.
So you wanna make it
Resumes will
Saturday
be
the
accepted,
25th,
Yeah.
let's make it the 24th then, which makes it a.
Friday the
not-
24th.
Friday the 24th.
Run
24th at 12 PM.
receive all before the 24th, right?
Okay, and that's easy to do. When you mail it, you know, there's a timestamp on the mail. And there's certainly a timestamp on the email, so, okay. And then from there, you know, after we have that, then we will,
You guys, how frequent do you meet for, like,
we meet
First
twice a
and
month.
third Wednesdays.
okay.
So let's then talk about right now,
What are the run dates? I'm sorry, what did you say?
first and third Wednesdays
The
of each
9th and
month.
the 16th. 9th, okay, sorry.
So we don't have to get together again and have another advertised meeting or whatever. Let's talk about a date when we're gonna sit down as a group. No, actually, no, we don't need to do that.
We need to vote.
Yeah, right, we're done.
Yeah, we just have that one common person that we'll have to
Yeah.
link up on.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't know, we can
we'll
kind of.
develop
What
a
if
process
we-
for that.
Now, what happens if we want to nominate the same people, since we wouldn't be meeting again, we just,
You know, if that's the case, then there's obviously, oh, not
You can't be a
obviously.
resume hoarder, can you?
Yeah, there will be,
You got
You
my
know,
number,
no,
Bill,
okay.
you got my number.
there will have to be some sort of way to communicate this, even though we're not permitted to do that. Well, maybe we are. We're permitted to talk, but we're not permitted to
we
make a
could have
decision.
our, well, like how we do with the
We have an
ESC.
attorney present
We
here.
do. What we do with the ESC is we have our board presidents meet together, so it makes sense that after we talk about it publicly, we would have Maggie and Bill, our liaison, probably get together and exchange those lists. It would
Okay,
seem to
that's
make
fine.
sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to be as transparent as possible here and stick to the letter of the law, so no one can come back later and say that we did this or we did that.
Yeah, we have
Every
to-
intent is being, you know, is being considered here.
We don't wanna
We
scrutinize
don't,
their
we
names
don't
and-
want this to get messed up, to put it mildly. So,
It was disappointing the amount of communications that it required to get this meeting going.
thank you for
And the
everybody
amount of
for
costs
adjusting
for
your
our
schedules
attorneys
to do
to be
so.
here
Yes,
was excessive, for the nature of the conversation,
Yes.
in my personal opinion.
well, yes, good things happen and good things take a lot to organize, so
Right.
we have successfully completed this. Does anybody have any questions?
We need to
We
vote
need-
on this. I
Need a
made the
second.
motion
I
and
second it.
then
All in
roll.
favor?
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes, okay,
So
motion
moved.
carried.
So moved.
I do have a few follow-up, points, the financials regarding the rec board. I know there's been questions brought
I
about
think
the
we've
financials.
already addressed that. I think that we left that the new rec board will be dealing with that. I don't believe that we as township trustees have any authority to act as an investigative board or, you know, do anything beyond what we're permitted to do by the ORC. I don't know of any place in that says we can do that. So I would let the board police itself. And if there's an interest in the public can ask either the prosecutor's office, the police prosecutor, or whatever, for some action beyond what we, I know, our limitations are. I'm not trying to skirt the issue by no means. It needs to be done properly. And anything, you know, I don't even wanna talk about any allegations or innuendo or anything, because unless there's some evidence that somebody can put here in front of me, then there is no problem.
There has been meetings where the records came and they're not jiving. So
Okay,
that
well,
exists and that is
that-
out there and it's come to our attention.
Okay, that we have not seen. If you guys would like to share that with us at some point in the future, that's fine. But at the same point in time, I don't know that, we would have to talk to our attorney at that point in time.
Right, which
To
is
see
why
if there's any action that we could take as a board. I don't know that there is.
I wanted to state for the Board of Education, we'll be contacting the state auditor's office to get their opinion, and then we will, let you know.
That's fine. Yeah. If you're gonna be doing that, then we don't have to. Yeah, so
Glenn, I have
Yes.
a question, if
Please.
that's okay. You know, I submitted a letter of intent, my name's Melissa Miller, I'm a, community resident, of 30 years. I submitted a letter of intent, a couple weeks ago to Lauren, I have some interest in volunteering on the
Sure.
rec board,
Thank you.
and then you're welcome, I'm not there yet.
I'm buttering the way.
Keep you interested.
So I have a vested interest in this, and then I just started attending a couple of meetings to, just kind of familiarize myself with the process.
Yes,
In that process, I learned of the discrepancies that Maggie's referencing. And your suggestion of letting the new board police itself is kind of a little bit, to me personally.
maybe that's a little bit naive.
Not naive at all, but it's making me skeptical about wanting to join now. I feel like
Okay.
this should maybe be expedited and the issue should be resolved. I really don't wanna,
Okay,
I'm there for,
understood.
yeah.
And to your point, our legal representative is not here this evening,
Okay.
and I'm not gonna make any decision without that person present. But if we need to be involved in that, and we need to jointly ask that to happen,
And like
you know,
Maggie said,
then we will.
we'll reach out to the state
Yeah.
attorney's office, or,
Yeah. Well, let's,
auditor's office, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
and get guidance
and
from
actually,
that point.
you know, it would actually be better if we were to do it, because both names are attached to this. And,
Not just that, but the people moving forward
right.
shouldn't
we
have to
wanna-
take a fall for
No,
something.
and
they
actually
did.
they should have.
Mm.
I tried. Shame on
I
you.
I would just
No.
like to see it
Yeah,
resolved
no,
before,
yeah, we all want that.
yeah.
You know, we all want to remove any veil of anything
Mhm.
and just provide the programs for, that the kids will benefit from in the safest way possible.
And there's a chance that some of these things might not have resolution, but at least we can say we've done what we could to get it, and moving forward, this is where we're at.
Yeah.
We're gonna do our due diligence,
Right.
yes.
Bobby Crinky,
Thank you.
a longtime resident of Newbury. We're talking about the financial end of this. You know, it seems to me that it's pretty simple, actually. You have the township trustees and you have the school board,
Mhm.
okay? They are the parents of the rec board, which is a child. Okay. Say said child goes to court, he does something wrong, said parents are technically responsible for the child. It's not rocket
Bobby,
science.
I'm gonna thank you in advance for holding me more accountable than I wanted to be this evening.
Well,
And,
and
you know,
here's the
and yes,
thing.
we will,
Here's the thing, though,
We
I
will-
wanna make one more statement.
okay,
And a simple audits are to protect the people that are responsible for keeping
Yes.
care of the money.
right,
It's not to get those people in trouble.
of course.
I mean, it's just like a church. The church audits their books every year. I mean, I would think that, don't you audit your book,
We're audited every year by the
Yeah,
auditor's
so
office. Yeah.
why wouldn't the rec board audit their books every year? So
We-
that's all,
okay.
that's all. I'm done, I'm
Okay,
done.
no, you know, I guess, you know, to satisfy and protect, you know, all the parties,
Yeah.
and to move forward, you know, then, you know, as I said, it's that until I talk to our attorney, I'm not gonna say yes or no to that, but
Sure.
it certainly sounds like that's the way to proceed.
Just so you guys know, we did talk to Beverly Sustar up at the auditor's office, and they can't audit us, Geauga County can't. So
Okay.
she did at least let us know of some, cause we were, before this all started, we were gonna ask, vote on an
Right.
audit, but we had to use an outside company to do it.
That we, I'm sorry, go ahead, Mark.
When we first got on the rec board, we tried to do a forensic audit of the rec board finances, because it was sort of, you know, I think whenever new rec board starts, everybody wants to start fresh.
Sure.
And we did the same thing. And basically, we're told we had to pay for it through a third party, what you were told.
Okay.
And at the time, we were getting sued for $12,000 from Adler's from a pre-existing, so we really didn't have the money to do that.
How about the next year?
Well, I'll tell you,
And the next year?
when we find
And
out,
the next-
I'm not even gonna speculate what I'm gonna be told, but I think everybody can figure it out, it's not rocket science here. And we will take the appropriate steps, I would prefer not the school board nor the trustees, a financial person, be involved in any way, shape, or form with an audit of this. Maybe find a third party, or maybe the state auditor, or somebody that has no horse in the race. And I don't even mean it, that's an inappropriate thing to say. Somebody is a third party to perform that. Your board has already indicated you want to do that.
Right,
So,
and
okay, all right.
we'll call to get guidance, and
Okay.
from that point,
All right.
we'll see what the state auditor suggests
Okay.
moving forward.
Kevin, upstairs you said something, you talked to the auditors, or you've talked to this.
We checked the auditor of state's website. They have never, at least as far as we can tell, audited a joint rec board. They exist, but there's no public information about auditing of joint rec board. It's still my recommendation that they be contacted to see if they are
Right.
willing to do that.
Right.
If not, then it might mean a private entity has to be brought in. But it's worth it. Even when the Board of Education is audited by the auditor of state, they pay for that audit.
Right.
So
Right.
money's going to have to be paid, whether it's to the auditor of state or to
Right.
a private auditing firm.
Right. But I guess to answer your question, Mrs. Brinkley, normally joint rec boards don't do that. Cause it's all volunteers.
So you said when you got on, they were gonna, cause you said that at a meeting I attended too about
Right.
being sued. Were you actually sued?
Yeah, it actually, there was a
Because
lawsuit.
I went in, what court was it in?
We had a, I can go through the records and see
Was it
where.
in Geauga?
No, Cuyahoga, it was
Cause I
Adler's.
couldn't find anything. I saw a lot of Adler suing other rec boards, other schools, but there was nothing for Newbury Township, nothing for the rec board.
Because it,
Okay, I'm gonna stop it right there, because we're starting to get away from the purpose of this meeting. And the purpose of the meeting is to be given some structure. And then, these are questions that exist. And I don't mean to cut you off, but, let's stay on point here. Because we're starting to get into some gray areas there, I think.
This next topic does have to do with structure, and that was getting access to keys and inventory so that they can continue their work. Have you guys gained access to the keys?
No, still.
What keys do you currently have? What can you open right now?
We have, Marty's wife turned in, keys to the PRF concession part of the building. And we have keys to the basketball hoop and the batting cage.
Where are those kept?
I have all the keys.
No, where are the batting cages and the?
That's in the gym, the big gym, it's just like the little lock thing, to raise it, lower it.
Oh, okay.
That kind of
But you
key.
can't get into the gym.
No, last we were told it was Jeff Zimbiak who had them. The superintendent and her secretary took it upon themselves to find out, cause it was a school board set of keys, and they have yet to be turned in still.
Now, when I was at the last rec board meeting that I was at, Fred Arnold said that he knows for a fact he's the only person that was ever given a set of those keys. When Angela Minyard gave you keys, finding out that you were the new president, what were those keys to?
She said they were for, the PRF building and the storage locker, which none of the keys worked for.
So at some point, the lock had been changed on the
Mhm.
storage locker. And the keys to the PFR building had been changed at some
Right.
point, but you can't find a record in the minutes where they voted to change those locks.
We've never gotten any, personally, we've never gotten any minutes for any years previous to us.
Well, let's,
2018 we got, in 2017.
Not, I didn't, you might have sent them to,
guys,
our
let's-
secretary
let's not go tit for tat
at
here.
the time.
It seems like there's a problem about getting access to the equipment that's owned by the rec board.
Yes.
Am I hearing that right?
Yes.
Okay, what kind of locks are on these doors? Are they padlocked or?
Well, one of them would be an actual facility key, so the question is, do we have to rekey the entire school because we can't get the keys from Fred Arnold, who says he knows he was issued the keys?
Okay. Has Fred been asked?
He has, at the last rec board reading, he
And
was
his
asked for the keys.
reply has been?
I was the only person who's been issued that, before he left, he said, I'm the only person who's had the keys.
Yes, he's been asked, and yes, he's been repeatedly said no to. Yet he still has access to the PRF building because we've seen him in the PRF building several times since then. And he has since resigned from the board and is still getting access to that building.
And I saw there was a police report in the paper about the storage unit. The rec board had a storage unit that a lock was taken off and inventory was taken out of that.
Correct.
And have we gained access back of that inventory that was in that storage unit?
We're not sure. Fred had dropped off some inventory outside the back door of the small school building. But we took pictures of what was in the storage unit before we locked it up, and not everything is accounted for.
Do you have those
Okay,
pictures?
okay.
I know where you're going, but
Let's
I'm
stick-
giving you straight
Right,
answers.
let's stick to the point about getting access to this property. It's on the school board grounds. You have care, custody, control over the access to the property?
Our next step would be, in my opinion, to talk to Dr. Hoynes and see the ledger of who the keys were issued to.
Well, why not just get a locksmith and open the door?
Well, they have gained, so there's three different places from my understanding. There was an old storage unit that was kept off district property. There's one which is owned by the rec board, which is called the PFR building, or PRF building, by the concession stand, by the pavilion. And then there's a storage within our facility that all three of
Okay.
those at some point the rec board was using to store.
Is there a way to do this so it's not hostile?
That's
You know,
not my
you
story.
know,
The transition has been
Very
shameful,
rough, very
to be honest.
brutal.
I've been to multiple rec board meetings, I haven't been able to, I've talked countless conversations about where these keys are. I'm talking to our administration, who's unwilling to issue more keys until we receive the other keys back, because it is a liability issue for our district to have those out there. Now, we have to start somewhere. If we have to re-lock all of our doors, then there's gonna have to be a bill issued. We're gonna have to go down that road. We prefer not to go down that road. We're just trying to gain access to those one
Lauren, can I
doors.
ask you-
Why can't you just get access to the one door?
All the doors for that building, sir, have to be the same key, because the fire department has the keys in case there's a
Gotcha.
fire to get in, so one key
Isn't-
opens up everything.
Isn't there a way to open that door? You know, maybe you're damaging the lock set, but isn't there a way to gain access to the door, or to the room?
We would have to pay a janitor to meet them every single time, and that's outside of school hours.
You only have to open it once and then you put your own lock set on it.
No.
I see what you're saying.
They're master
To change,
keys,
got it,
yes.
sorry, I'm a little
Okay.
dense at times.
We would have to change all the keys in the
Gotcha,
school
gotcha,
building.
okay.
So Lauren, can I ask you a question? And
Okay.
Lauren, can you
Yes, sorry.
see if my understanding of the changing of keys is correct? Because I'm not sure that it is. So from what my understanding is, the meeting I was at for rec board, Fred Arnold said he knows for a fact he's the only person that's been issued keys. And then that basketball season that you guys came on board, that next basketball season, it's my understanding that Pam Braun had the keys to access the basketball gyms, is that correct?
Right.
And then somewhere between basketball season starting and baseball season starting, there seems to be an understanding that that same meeting where Fred said he was the only one to issue the keys, Pam said that she no longer has the keys, and she knows the coach who probably has them.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's my understanding that that coach was Jeff Zembiak, and he showed up to the next rec board meeting and he said he was going to turn in the keys
Right.
at that point. And why did you not get the keys at that next rec board meeting?
I'm gonna interrupt one more time here because I'm talking to me like I'm a 3-year-old here. Why can't you just gain access to that particular door and then put a hasp and a lock on it? You
We have
then
to
have
get
a
it
key.
It's
They
in
need
the
to be able
school.
to get in the school to
Yeah,
get to the
this is in the
gyms.
school.
Who does?
The rec board, they
The rec
use our
board.
gyms.
Okay, so the rec board then has keys.
They have a set, we
They
aren't
have a
reissuing a
set, and they're
until
not getting
we
reissued,
get-
so we either get that
The
set
new
back or
rec
we.
board would have a new set of keys to access the room.
And our district administrator says they will not give another set of keys until the old ones are back because we have keys floating out there.
Or we have to change
Or
the
we
lock.
have to rechange the entire building.
It's part of your security plan that you,
Yeah,
you
you
need to
can't just
have,
have
you have
keys.
to have a
Okay.
key
So
control
Lauren, could you,
policy
so
in
why
place
didn't you get the
to-
keys at that next meeting when
He
there was a,
left.
and, but he was at the meeting
And he left.
and he said he was going to bring the keys to the meeting and then he left.
Yeah, he
So
was there
as
for
far
about
as
5
you
minutes.
understand, right now, the keys are lying with Jeff Zembiak, who is not who they were issued to, they were issued to Fred Arnold.
I'm not sure who they were issued to.
I will talk to our administrator to see the
For the
log, to
record.
see who was issued the keys, and then we will make contact with either Fred Arnold or Jeff
I mean,
Zodiac.
Greg Munn
So-
has a set too,
Guys,
like I'm
excuse me,
hearing
excuse me,
like
one
all these
minute.
keys are floating around, I don't know.
Explain to me once again why you can't open that door and then put a hasp and a lock on it.
It's a
And then
The
you have
school
the
needs
keys,
access
It's
to
in the
it.
school.
but you are the school board.
But if a fire happens,
So
the
give
fire
one to the fire
station needs
department.
to get into.
So the fire department can have a key.
With the
They
kids'
can't
codes,
jumble
he has to
through.
follow, Roger is our maintenance supervisor, he's
Okay,
here.
you can put a knockbox on the wall with a key to the door.
A separate key.
Right.
But
Add a
we
second.
have someone out there that has
Add the
keys
to our
that
school building.
shouldn't have keys.
But since you're not getting them back and all this conversation and time has gone by, just solve the problem.
How does that solve the problem? I don't know.
Because
He's
that-
still the keys are still out there.
Somebody who has access to our school.
Anybody can get into our school with these
Okay,
keys.
see, now I'm looking at, I didn't look
Fred,
at the individual.
hold on,
I'm
hold on
looking
one
at the
second.
individual room.
Hold on one second. Fred, the keys for the small building are separate than the keys from the big building, correct?
Correct.
They're not the same, so nobody can get into, just so everybody's clear on this, nobody can get into where the students are. They're two totally
Students use
separate.
the library,
Right,
that's where our
but
library
what I'm
is.
saying is just for
There's one,
everybody.
there's one key for the old 4-6 building, and there's a totally different type of key for the high school building.
So when Jim,
I don't know.
when we run rec programming for basketball season and we're using the large gym, does that mean a janitor from the school is meeting them there in the morning?
I'm told that they have a key to get in that exterior door and the individual key to get into the gym.
So they have
So they have
keys to both buildings?
Yes, that's my understanding, because there's been a number of times that, because we don't have a guy there on Saturdays, that, you know, they're still able to get in and use the gym. So they also have what they call a dimple key to be able to get into the gym.
So there are keys out there that can open the building,
Yes,
both buildings.
yes. It's my understanding, yes.
And for
So-
the record, we've got events already that we were embarrassed over because no janitor was there to open the doors for us. And we had kids standing outside ready for their
Yeah,
baseball
okay.
clinic and we couldn't get in the building, that's not
Well,
fair.
yeah, you guys need to figure that out, that's a logistics problem that should be easily solved. I don't
Right,
understand.
turn the key in,
There-
be an
there's
adult about
key-
it.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
You
Being
have
an
no
adult,
idea how
turn
many
the key
keys
in.
to the building are out there.
Marty, go to his house and get him.
Can you talk to Fred and to Jeff Zodiac and get access?
I don't even have Zodiac's number.
If I get it for you, can you make contact?
I can get his number from our.
I have it, but
I'll
he's,
send you a call.
I have it, yeah.
I'll call him.
I'm.
If they're not on that board, they have no right to have that
That's
key.
exactly right.
Thank you.
He's not
Exactly
answering
should
not have a
I have
key.
his number, but he's not.
Here,
answering.
you want his number, it's right here.
Yeah,
Who wants it?
is that Jeff's? You can
Yep.
give it to
Do you want me
Marty.
to call him?
Yeah, if you could work out a
Put 'em on
peaceful
speaker,
solution
call 'em
to
now.
this, it would be the most appreciated.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
Okay.
Hang on.
So, into keys. Girls, logistically, what else do you need to be able to function before we make appointments? We're gonna work on the keys, you know that you can now, you're de facto members, you can make your decisions, you can spend the money from the accounts to get these kids the programming that they need, and quite frankly, they deserve, and it has been embarrassing to watch how this has unfolded, and I'm glad that we were able to come together to get some resolution on this for you. I'm sorry that it took this long, I'm sorry that last week's debacle kept happening, and that people canceled at the last minute, and we weren't able to have this meeting for you. Besides keys, now you know you can operate until we appoint, you know the timeline of the appointments and the procedure to happen. What else you need to provide these kids currently that are using youth programming, what they
I'm
need?
just curious if the bathroom issue has been rendered. You know how we can't use the bathrooms in the PRF building?
So is there any bathroom facilities right now for baseball season?
Yeah, we got 2 new, the portable restrooms.
So right now rec owns the PFR building that has plumbing, but you're spending out of pocket, out of rec board money for other disposable bathrooms. Now, you can get
How
into
is,
the
how is
PF
that PR building connected to the sewer system?
Well, Roger and I were talking about, we thought maybe the leak problems were because of the new pump that you guys put in. Like the old plumbing couldn't handle the pressure of the new.
I don't think he's up to snuff on the problems of the building, so maybe
Roger's right here.
Roger can explain. what's
Okay,
going on.
as of right now, the PRF gets water through our well.
Okay,
Right now, it is plugged off so I could get water to our other building over by the football field.
okay.
What happened, the holding tank has been slowly leaking. I definitely was last year. I'm sorry?
Okay, so it's not connected to the.
Right now, I had to disconnect it because when we went to fill it up this year, we started blowing lines
That's
left and
fine.
right.
Okay.
So there's a lot of water leaks over there.
Okay, and now you have no, so essentially a plumber needs to come in and tell you what needs to happen with rec, is that where you're, with the building, is that where you're at?
Yeah, the building needs a little help, like all the fascia is all in disrepair, the roof, like it needs some money.
And if I remember correctly, the idea from your last rec board meeting, we haven't had a board meeting since, was you wanted us to see if it could be covered under our insurance since it was on our property. Do we know that that request has gone into Sarah, Maggie?
No, well, they had to stop their business
Because
after.
everything, okay, so now that we know that they are able to make those kinds of decisions and requests, can we make sure that we ask Sarah to look into if the PFR building would be covered under insurance?
There would have to be, I mean, it would have to be done between the rec board and the school district, with our school district. So that's not something that I would need to follow up on. The rec board needs to file with Roger or with Sarah to be able to file that claim.
Okay,
It's not
so it
something
sounds
the
like
board
if
has
you
to-
get a hold of Sarah Palm and talk to you, Sarah, and Roger, have a meeting and discuss if there's any way the school can help out with that based on insurance claims because of the well outage, okay? You're able to do that? You got Sarah's contact info?
Well, you can contact Fred as well.
No,
Okay, we can, I can get that to you.
okay, that's really it, to be honest, we're still accumulating, equipment. I think Amy was approached today or yesterday about more baseball equipment that's out there, so we've been doing inventory and having coaches sign out equipment, but it's old, like we need stuff. We're limited,
And you have no record of what equipment the rec board owned before you came on?
no.
Okay, so is it your stance to just, are you gonna audit, is your idea to audit the equipment or to move forward and just get these kids what they need?
Well, to be honest, right now, I'm thrilled to say we have 110 kids signed up for programming.
Oh, wonderful,
Um,
wonderful.
And we probably, I think we're close to 7,000 in the bank, and they're excited. We're doing new shirts this year, a little higher end. They're all excited, little camo shirts, and for all of them, we have probably 18 kids per team, which is nice. So I think, what we need as it comes, we're gonna buy for them, because I'm a little emotional, but I feel like the kids, given the circumstances the townships in, should have whatever they need. Across the board.
Did you say you took a picture of inventory that was in? Okay.
Yes.
And then that stuff went away? Just saying, then you went and you opened it and it was no longer there. But some of it had been returned.
Yes.
So if you can match it to the picture, then why don't you go to this person and say, hey, not all, I mean, obviously, if the person who returned it and it matches the picture, it's obviously, I mean, you don't need any legal counsel, you don't need any sheriff involvement to know. There's a picture, there's stuff missing, the person who returned it, he is in essentially, possession of stolen property, and he most likely has the rest of it, so.
Well,
That's most likely, you can't use that.
Okay.
I guess
Yeah.
my question is there
Taken without
documentation to
permission.
show the items that were missing, did they really belong to the rec board, or did they belong to
Right.
people that were
Well,
housing,
technically,
would they be
Well,
housed in
folks,
the rec board storage?
I'd like to interject something here.
I'm just asking.
Marty is gonna be contacting Jeff and
It's in a
Mr.
storage
Arnold,
folder.
and maybe he can resolve all this stuff without any further ado. So that is the goal here. So let's see what happens. Let's give Marty a chance to work his magic on these guys that he knows, and hopefully some of these issues will go away. So some of this
How many
talk.
chances are we given? I feel like
I think
there have been
that,
plenty.
I would like to
This
give
is
Mar, I would like to
equipment for
extend Marty the
participants.
opportunity to do so.
It'll cost a lot more money if we have to do this differently.
Yeah.
This is,
If we could just get the
you know,
keys
without
amicably.
without all the, I think, I'm trying to be polite. Yeah, I'm trying something new, I'm trying
It's
to be polite.
politics.
Without all the, with all.
I'll just call a spade,
Yeah,
it's
right.
politics.
Politics.
Without all this, without all the sideshow, you know, maybe this can resolve itself. Because it's gonna resolve, it's gonna be resolved one way or another. It's just like, how far and how deep do you wanna get into the weeds on this?
Yeah, I'm pretty done
Yeah.
myself.
Well, hang in there, because,
Lauren, do you
these
need,
things take time.
will you need a copy of this statement for any publications coming from our board?
I was gonna say, since you guys don't have a Facebook, we could add that to our we can add that to our Facebook and our website. Since
So
we're starting
we're gonna
over.
email you Sarah's contact information, and we're gonna email you this statement. Is there anything else you need from us after this meeting today?
I don't think so.
I'm gonna email you a copy of this, so
Thank
you don't
you.
have to redo it.
Okay, wonderful.
All three of you get a copy of this, Bill, you as well.
I'll send you
Marty, you'll
Sarah's
get a
email.
copy as well.
Glenn, can I ask you a question real quick on
Please.
the application process
Yes.
and the resume process? And are there any steadfast, hardcore characteristics you're looking for, qualifications you're looking for, so
I'm
you guys are all on the
looking-
same page?
Okay.
Like, do they have to be a resident of Newbury? Do they have to have children in a youth program? Do they,
Those
you
are
know,
good questions.
do they have to have been a resident of Newbury for so many years? Is there?
The bylaws require that you have to be a resident of the township to be a member of the group.
Okay.
So that kind of answers that
Yeah.
question.
Mhm.
The other characteristics would be, you know, people who are motivated, you know, and who are of goodwill and character, and people that are interested in, you know, performing a community service. You know, and there's a lot of them around, I believe. You know, we just have to get to them, and we have to let them know that there's a vacancy, and there's a place for people to,
So they have to
donate
be a
to good
resident
works.
of Newbury, and if that residency changes throughout their term, if they ask to step down from the board?
well, it says you have to be a resident of the township, so I guess that would be a call at that point in time.
We're hoping to
If you're no
change
longer a
that.
resident of the township,
It's a board that's appointed by two public boards. In order to serve as a public entity, you have to live in the constituency that you're serving. So.
That's fine, I just wanna make
Yeah.
sure you guys were all
So-
looking
Yeah,
at the
well,
same
I
thing
mean,
when you have these resumes in
we
front of you.
we
you
have
just don't-
adopted this, and we've already said that this is the Bible on this sort of thing.
And this is on
So
your website,
this is what it
isn't it?
says, this is what we're gonna live by. Yeah, and this is the expectation that people who are involved in it will
And
have to rise to.
But you don't have to live here to coach, you don't have to live here to be the commissioner, I could probably tell you all the roles right now, so there's flexibility in that as well.
To be a
This is
member
to
of
be
the
a
rec board.
board.
To be a
That's
member.
all.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But that says you have to be a member of
to
the
live here to be a
township to
member.
be in a
To
member
be a
of
member of the
board.
rec board, you have
Voting
to be a
privilege.
resident of the township.
But you can,
Gotcha.
yeah,
Yes.
volunteer can be from anywhere,
Sure.
a voting member of the rec board needs to live in Newbury.
Yes.
And this constitution can be found on the rec board's website, which is newburyrec.org.
That's where I got it from,
.com.
you know,
.com.
there's 13 people that we're looking for that are residents of the community.
And in the past, we've had coaches and volunteers that did not
Yeah.
live in Newbury proper.
I only ask because I know on these rec teams, my kids have played rec ever since we lived here, and I
Sure.
know that we get kids from St. Helens, we've had kids that
Right.
lived in Chardon, and I
Right,
didn't know
right.
if their parents were interested, if that was a
Well, there's no
prerequisite to be on the
stipulation
board.
on who can join the youth or adult programs, I believe.
Right.
Right.
You know, and I don't, if there is, I
Actually,
missed
the
it.
only thing that it does say, if I remember correctly, is that it has to be a percentage of non-Newbury local school district children, since it is a joint. So you have to have so many kids that don't use the district also
Okay,
participating
I did not see
in
that anywhere,
recreation
but
sports.
I'll take you at your word for that.
I believe
That's
it's
okay.
a certain percentage.
Okay, well, that's fine, you know, right now it's academic, so it doesn't make any difference. All right, so, any other questions?
I have a question.
Yes, Bill.
Not necessarily a question. I got a question from Doug Zimmerman
Yep.
about the maintenance of the soccer fields.
Yes,
We mow part of them.
yes.
Have for a number of years, and I think that the rec board mowed the remaining part of that field.
Yes.
Do you have somebody to do your portion of the fields.
Not right now, I kinda texted Doug to ask, to kinda ask.
All right, well, that's why I'm bringing it
Yeah.
up, Lauren. If you need us to do that until you find
We
somebody,
do.
all right, because
Yeah.
it needs, according to what Doug said, it needs to be mowed.
Mhm.
Okay, so, John, who's our lawn mowing expert in the community here, will take care of that, until hopefully soon you find somebody to do that,
Okay,
okay?
yeah, that would be
And then
appreciated.
if you could communicate that through Doug or myself, that would be great, okay?
Okay, yes, thank
All right,
you.
so we'll take care of that. I know that we fertilized them, and we're getting, what, 3 or 4 applications this year? I don't remember if it
I
was 3
think
or
it's
4.
three, I think it may be three, maybe four. But, you know, the fertilization build, it's investment in what we have collectively built,
And when you fertilize it and it rains, it grows,
yes.
Yeah.
we could bale it.
I wanted to make a statement on what I'm looking for in those resumes, personally. There's been some email correspondence to me with recommendations to dissolve the rec board completely. I've asked for what those benefits are to the children of our youth and, to our district and to our community. I haven't received a response back, but I'm looking for people who are not interested in dissolving the rec board, and I think it's a beneficial enrichment program. So if you're on it, just coming on for the year, to dissolve it, that's not what I'm interested in looking at. Also, in the past, we've had, quite a bit of high school coaches on the rec board, and taking some of that youth money and appropriating it for varsity sports. I'm not speaking on whether that's legal or ethical, I'm saying I personally would like to see people who are interested in looking at spending their efforts on the youth and adult programming in our community.
Okay. I think it, yeah,
I think I have to agree with that statement.
well, I mean,
No
We have a
doubt.
school district, we
we all-
have a PTO with $60,000 in the account, that's a boosters, and a PTO, and we have a school district that also can support those high school sports. So I'd like to use the remaining rec board funds for youth and adult programming, and I'd like to focus on those individuals who are putting their intents and resumes forward.
okay, now.
Just out of curiosity, how long has that been going on? That's been for years, even before we got on the rec board.
I didn't say how long, and I didn't say if it was ethical or legal, I'm saying I personally, my request, when I'm looking at those resumes, that's what I'm interested in looking at, getting rid of the overlap.
Okay, so as stated in our advertisement, that is, community recreation volunteers, you know, it says volunteers at least twice. So, you know, but there are, and we understand that there are instances when, you know, you're gonna need a referee or somebody that, you know, they may not have any kids here. You know, and they may, you may have to pay somebody to come in and do it. But that's gonna be a function of the rec board to work out. I don't wanna sit here and micromanage what they're going to do. I wanna find people that we have some confidence in, and look, here's the task, take care of it. So, with that said, does anybody have anything else they'd like to add or ask?
We're looking for sponsors for the baseball teams.
And tell us what that
What does
sponsor
that
would be
include?
responsible
Yeah.
for.
Well, the cost is $250, and your name goes on the back of the kids' baseball shirts, and then the free advertising, of course. Hopefully on the Facebook page, the website, and we're wanting to do a collaborative banner for the front of the fields. That's it. And it's
Okay.
all online, all on our website.
I just wanna reiterate one more time that I know how much man-hours and emotional, distress went into the last few months for you ladies. And I wanna thank you for hanging in there and giving us the time that we needed to get this set and to continue getting it set. It's not easy to be under the scrutiny. If everybody knows that it's us, this group sitting at this table right now.
The Greek
And-
symbol for change is the triangle, I believe, which is the most resistant shape geometrically to any forces. So, when you think about the change that we're all going through here on a regular basis, think about how that impacts the forces needed to overcome that. So thank you, everybody, for participating. And, anything else?
Thank you guys for
Thank
getting
you.
a date
Yeah.
together. Yes, thank you for having
Appreciate
us.
Did we wanna, before we close here, did we wanna pick a date when we would make the appointments? Or do we wanna wait till we get the resumes and see if we have enough resumes to do that?
Why don't we set a date for you and Maggie to, oh. we have to-
Okay, we're gonna, okay,
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get together and then-
never mind.
You guys
And
figure it
Never
out.
And then we'll try to get it.
Okay,
Okay.
right over my head.
Okay, we have a
Okay.
motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn,
I'm gonna second it. All in favor?
yes.
It's gotta be Bill. You know, fine. Thank you, everybody, for taking the time out of your evening this evening.
Thank you.
Nice to see everybody.
Yes.
We can do a separate motion.